Hello, my panda pals, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Season 11, Episode 6. So, settle down, and let's get right into it. Let's check in with Greg and Joan. Greg takes Joan down to South Bay for a romantic little stroll on the boardwalk, and she's thrilled to just be out of the house and away from Lucille's watchful gaze. Greg tried to get intimate last night, but Joan shot him down because they are living in his mother's house with an open door policy.
You're going to start being intimate, and she'll be like, open that door. You guys follow my rule.
Greg reassures her that they will get their own place someday soon, and Joan is like, oh, amazing. How long?
If everything goes normal and everything goes right, maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, it's going to take that long?
Now, as you can imagine, Joan is shocked.
2 years before we get our own place. I feel like I'm a kid.
She thought that they would only be living with his mother for like 6 months max.
I don't want us to be wasting money on an apartment. I'd rather just save up a down payment. We'll get our own place that we can pay for.
Gregory, you aren't in an apartment because you can't pay for rent because you don't have a job. Please do not tell her that it's because you want to save for a down payment on a house, because in order to be saving money, you would need to be making money. Greg tells her that he has $8,000 in debt because he borrowed a bunch of money to pay for all of the K-1 visa related expenses. And Joan is just finding out about this debt now, and she kind of feels a little duped.
I knew Greg had a debt, but I didn't think it was that big. I thought people living in America were stable, but they're not.
Joan is not happy, and she's like, okay, so you're in debt, you have no job, I can't make money. How are we gonna pay for a wedding?
You get a wedding once in a lifetime. I don't want us to spend like a lot on a wedding, but I also don't want like an ugly wedding dress. I want something good.
Girly, honestly, I think you just go to the courthouse and pay like $40 to get a marriage license, and you just have a nice dinner with your loved ones, okay? There is absolutely no shame in not having a wedding or having a wedding later when you can afford it. Greg is like, baby, we can ball on a budget, okay? I mean, I've never budgeted a day in my life, but I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
We can cook all the food ourselves. Maybe $500-600 on a wedding. I don't know how much they cost.
Now, I don't know much about wedding dresses beyond what I have seen on Say Yes to the Dress, but trying to find a dress for $500 seems impossible? Like, has anyone gotten or know someone who has gotten a wedding dress with alterations for under $500? Like, within the past, 10 to 15 years? Please let me know. Greg tries to reassure her by telling her that he does have a few job interviews lined up, and he doesn't care how hard he has to work because being able to come home to her warm embrace will make it all worth it.
I feel like I rushed into a decision of coming here. If things don't change, I'm going back to Uganda.
Joan and Greg head out to meet two of his friends, Joan and John. John, without glasses, tells us that Gregory has a very magnetic personality, but much of his charm is just a deflection of inner turmoil.
He's still living in his mother's house at the age of 35.
They both definitely want Greg to cut his own damn umbilical cord because John without glasses asks Joan how long she would be willing to live with Lucille, and she's like 3 months. And John with glasses looks at Greg and he's like, okay, so what is your plan to make that happen for her? And obviously, Greg doesn't have a plan because Greg doesn't know what that means.
What are you doing to achieve that?
I'm about to jump off this dock into this morning.
I would suggest you do if you don't have a good answer.
Greg just says, well, we obviously want our own place, but it's gonna take some time. And again, that is not a plan. John without glasses is like, okay, well, what do you want to do with your life? And Greg is like, well, I want to open up my own bakery. And John without glasses is like, okay, that's cool. How are you gonna do that with no money?
I know you have this dream of a bakery. I don't know what kind of funds you have in reserve, but I mean, is it worth spending that money on a bakery, or is it worth spending that money on housing?
I love these two Johns because they are calling their friend out and holding him accountable. We all need to make sure that we have friends like these two Johns. John without glasses goes on to tell Greg that he is not a trust fund baby, so he really should look into getting a stable source of income, and Greg is like, listen, I get it. My friends, they're not wrong, but it's still pretty nerve-wracking to be grilled about the decisions that I've made.
I made those decisions for the better of my relationship.
I really don't know how being unemployed strengthens your relationship with your partner, but yeah, keep telling yourself whatever you need to.
I understand where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, why are you guys ganging up on me? Like, chill out.
Because they care about you and they want you to stop being a giant man baby because you're about to have a wife.
What is it you're looking for in the end, the both of you?
I want as many kids as she's willing to give me.
How many kids are you willing to give?
He
Very
wants 10.
realistic number, thank you.
You want 10 kids? What are you gonna feed him your toenails to keep him alive? John Without Glasses tells us that Greg has had many opportunities to get a stable job, but he's always declined them.
There's multiple opportunities he could have taken that he's chosen not to do because he just doesn't want to punch someone else's clock.
He is 35 and has never stopped suckling at his mother's teeth. If he did not want to punch somebody else's clock, then he would be working towards punching his own clock. But he's not. You want to run your own bakery? You want to be your own boss? That's great. You are going to need money for that. And I do not see you working a 9 to 5 or planning the logistics to pull a bank job anytime soon, so I'm gonna call bullshit. Let's check in with Stevi and Mahdi. Stevi picks Mahdi up from his haircut and he is so super duper sad because they butchered his face.
What? Did you ask him to cut your mustache?
No, but I swear to God, I can't go out with this.
I don't really see the difference. I mean, I do, but it looks the same or like very similar, so I don't really see what the big deal's about.
It's not funny.
It's a little funny.
Anyway, they head home so that Stevi can fill it all in with her eyebrow pencil.
Please be careful, babe.
No promises. I don't know what it's gonna look like.
I'm sure boobs are not the only things we can paint with.
They go out for coffee and Stevi tells him that she did end up telling Wendy about their whole, hey, if I could never come back to America, would you still let me go to Iran? And Mahdi is a little upset because he really doesn't think that she should have told anyone their business.
I think you shouldn't have told her.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah, Stevi, encourage your soon-to-be husband to keep secrets from you and not communicate his feelings. 10 out of 10 plan.
I miss my parents more than the first date.
Which is not that surprising, okay? He is going to miss them a lot for a while. And Stevi still cannot understand this for some reason. And she asks him, are you going to miss them forever?
Are you always gonna have this thought in your mind that you always wanna go back?
Then Mahdi tells her that he used to think, if Stevi and I were ever to break up, I think I would stay in America, but now he thinks that he would definitely go back to Iran. Stevi isn't super happy to hear that Mahdi was thinking about what he would do if they broke up, because she's never thought about a situation where they weren't together.
This is probably the first time in our whole entire relationship that I've ever questioned Maddie's motive.
I don't think it's that weird that Mahdi is second guessing things, okay? He misses his family, and Stevi has not been the most supportive or understanding of everything that he sacrificed.
I would have moved anywhere to be with you. Even Iran, as terrible as you like things that I've heard, I would have moved there to be with you if I could have.
Girl, it is easy to live in hypotheticals, but Mahdi did move, okay? He did give up his family and his friends, and it's honestly getting really annoying that you're acting like if you gave up everything to be with him, you wouldn't be sad or homesick at all.
And I never would have said, well, if we didn't work out, then I would just stay there. It's a lot different when you think about it that way.
First off, do not ask for empathy from someone who you have shown zero empathy towards, okay? Second, if you had a shitty job and then your partner got you a better job where he worked and then you guys broke up, would you leave and go back to your old shitty job? No. Does that mean that you've only dated him to get a job where he worked? Also no.
Well, just like a thought, and that's it for 10 seconds.
The difference is you've had those thoughts, and I have not, ever.
Okay. That doesn't actually mean anything. That doesn't mean that you love him more or that you're better than him.
It was just a thought.
Okay, don't think it.
The way that Stevi is behaving is actually what is causing that doubt in Mahdi's mind to grow bigger and bigger. Mahdi tells us that he really wasn't expecting Stevi to get so defensive, especially considering a lot of relationships fail, so they kinda have to be reasonable and realistic.
And this is my fault that I'm telling you.
No, it's not your fault. You need to tell me so
I
we can talk
admit it,
about
babe.
it.
Oh, no. You don't know how to talk about it, okay? He should just keep it a secret. I'm obviously joking. He should tell her anything and everything, but let's be honest, Stevi is not making it a safe space for him to do that.
You need to tell me so we can talk about it.
You don't want to know. Like, I shouldn't tell you.
Mahdi tells us Stevi is the only person that he can talk to, and right now, she's making it so that he really doesn't want to confide in her about anything, and he kind of wants a wife who will support him when things get difficult because This is life. Things are going to get difficult from time to time.
The hardest thing I've ever done in my life was leaving my family, but I can't even be honest with her about that.
And that, my Panda Pals, is all I have for you today. Next week, we are gonna get to see Joan put her foot down, and I am not mad about it.
If you don't get a job, I want to go back to Uganda.
What'd you just say?
If I'm being honest, so far, everybody on the show is pretty boring to me except for Greg and Joan. So, as much as I love to rag on Greg for being a man baby, thank God that they are here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are not subscribed yet, go ahead, click that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and let me know down in the comments what you have thought about the season so far. Do you guys like all the couples? Is there one that stands out more for you than any of the others, like Greg and Joan for me? I hope to see you for the next one, and as always, thanks for not letting me ride this train wreck alone. Bye!